Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Joseph Greco with Auxiluim, Ignited Podcast, episode number 13, with entrepreneur, digital creator, travel blogger, social media expert, and my good friend, Marco Faro. Today's episode, we'll be sharing some amazing tips on growing a bigger following on social media and some of the steps it takes to get working collaborations. I'm fired up to get this interview underway and hope that you take away some useful tips to help you improve your own accounts and further your dreams. That is what Auxilium and this podcast are all about. T.S. Eliot says, "Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go." Some powerful words of inspiration to get us started and warmed up for some fitness of the mind. Story, how it's been, cruising on the dream way. That's what Auxilium is all about. You know, where dreams ignite, fitness for the mind and body, and what you do encompasses that fitness of the mind, because you excel in what you do, you're making your dreams come true, and I'm just more than excited to have you come on here and share a little bit about your success.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, of course. And I know in the intro I've shared that, you know, we're really great friends outside of this interview and talking about your success and how you've helped me with my social media accounts and travel tips everywhere I've went, because you've basically been everywhere in the world, right?
Well, I wish there was such a thing as everywhere in my travels, but I try to always accomplish more.
Well, that's very obvious in your person and just being around you and talking to you. And anyone that sees your social media, which I'm going to have on here to share, so people can check it out. It's quite obvious that you make the most out of every trip you go on. So yeah, that's the best part, man. And just, I already know, but I want our listeners to kind of learn a little bit more about, you know, where you're from, your background, how you ended up doing what you do with social media, and what your greatest motivation in life comes from.
Sure. Well, I'm originally from Sicily, Italy, an island south of Italy. But at the age of 19, I decided to move to the UK, just fulfill my passion to be able to study languages abroad. I did Spanish, Portuguese, and French at a UK university. I'm very passionate about photography and travel. I like to kind of get into the mindset of people that I meet. I'm able to communicate with them with their native language. That's what actually inspired me to do languages abroad. Had the opportunity to live abroad as well. Besides obviously UK, I lived in Spain, Madrid and Barcelona, and also Portugal, in Porto. And then after university, I went and worked for Amazon for 5 years, still working remotely for another company, software company called Faro. But my greatest aspiration is to be able to travel as much as possible and meet people with different cultures, different mindsets.
That's amazing, man. I've always sort of envied how much you've traveled and your experiences, you know, studying in so many different countries. It just really adds to, you know, the person of anyone. I mean, it just really makes life better. And it kind of shows in your art, because I consider art your social media, because your stories, your posts are just amazing. And other people, I'm really excited for them to check it out so they can enjoy it as well. But, you know, it's just amazing. And how is creating this brand for yourself, do you think, taking away from the studies really and more on social media, how is doing what you do better to your life?
So really, when I started with sharing my travel experiences and also photography, I first started to share my experience in photography wise through Facebook, but I was actually encouraged by friends to be sharing my experiences in this different platform, Instagram, which was then bought by Facebook itself. And at the beginning, I was a bit not skeptical and not understanding what the reason I would have to share my experiences also on Instagram. But then when I decided to eventually do share the same experiences, I wanted to add something which I then found it was a really rare occasion to find like a post, an image which had also captions with travel tips. And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to contribute to, in this platform, that specific platform, with a value that has been in my mind, to be able to support others, help others, planning their travels, finding where is the best place, the best location to have the perfect shot, from that to where to eat, what to eat as well, how to find the best deals and the best prices for visiting, for example, museums, or of how to travel around, really provide the top tips. And that went from having a presence on a social media platform, which is now pretty crowded, to creating actually a website called Where the Locals Go, specifically to focus on a niche of travels, which I'm also passionate about. As I mentioned, the reason why I wanted to study languages was to communicate with other people, but at the same time understand their mindset, really be close to them on a cultural level, and understanding their customs, their habits. And for that, giving to travelers advice on from a local's perspective.
And I've personally been on your blog, your website, and obviously we talk when I'm in different places and you give me tips, but your website is such a useful tool. I found anywhere I went. I remember when I was in Belgium, in Brussels, and not only did you give me tips, but you referred me to your site, and I found so many different places to visit and things to do from your recommendations. And it came down to the best place for mussels, and the best place to tour, like the Atom over there. I remember you told me all the different places, and you made it fun too. You made it like a game on there to kind of find the, what is it called, mannequin piss, the pissing boy, the statue.
So there's also the female version as well, which
yeah, that's the one that no one could find. And then you told me about it, and I was like, what? There's a dog too? So it was really interesting, man. And it's just amazing all the experiences that you have, and you're gathering and meeting people in their culture, and it just makes you a better person all around. You have so much to offer. And I mean, I'm looking at your following, and I follow you regularly, obviously, and you have almost 68,000 followers on Instagram. Like, wow. That's extremely impressive. And like you said, it's something that you were encouraged to do by friends, and you enjoy doing it, and it just kind of coagulated from there. I know there's a lot of work involved, and that's obvious in talking to you, but quickly, what could you tell someone that's maybe just getting started, like you did for me? What does it take to get there, and is it as time consuming as people maybe say?
Yes, I will say that it's good to start. First of all, the greatest starting point is to actually start doing something that you want to. You may be like fearing not to succeed, because you have to be motivated on a personal level to be able to actually go ahead and do great things. But really focus on principles, on your values. You need to be able to reflect your values through the content that you're going to share. That was my approach when joining this platform, for instance, but also when writing my website, as well as writing an ebook. I wanted to be able to inspire people, so I aspire to aspire in life, but inspire people to go and visit different hidden gems from certain destination. Going to Paris, not going to Paris just to see the Eiffel Tower, for example, but all the little suburbs and little areas, little cafe that are less mainstream. Also, what I try to share through my post is to educate. So I want to post not just look perfect on as an image. Of course, the ones you share are the highlights of your trips to different destinations. But also to be able to educate about that specific location. So that's why I do spend a lot of time to actually tailor-made the experience, and to choose the best and top tips in my captions. So utilize the caption section that you do get, to educate people. Could be just under cultural level, could be just top tips, as I mentioned, could be just an historical events that might people not be aware of the post they're looking at. But at the same time, too, this is an innovation. At the same time, you need to be able to do something different that not many people would do. There are different tools that can help you automate and sharing different posts. But my top tip would be to add a little bit of flavor of an image that you have captured and consider to be like a great shot.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, you know, passion creates progress, and that's evident in what you're saying. You're doing what you love, and you're putting that flavor, your personal flavor in there, personal touch, and giving people something that they desire. Now, do you think, you know, like hashtagging or including companies like the whatever the hotel or place you're going to helps, or you think it's just a matter of timing? What do you think as far as all that goes, like the algorithm, basically?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest with you, it's really difficult to actually follow the Instagram algorithm, which constantly changes, and I'm sure it's the same for TikTok as well as for other social media platforms. They constantly being amended. But my top recommendation with that respect is to definitely use the different hashtags to maximize the use of hashtags. For example, on Instagram, you can use 30 hashtags, but at the same time to be very specific. Many people will think that, for example, having hashtags and also only having hashtag, the most popular hashtag, for example, if you're posting a picture of London, to add the hashtag London and just a couple of other ones famous will get your post viral. But in fact, is the ones that have been used less and less frequently at the same time, they're actually the most powerful. They can get you be seen by other users of the platform. Timing is also important. For instance, depending also your audience, where your audience is from, if you have access to the analytics of your Instagram account, they're able to tell you when your audience is most active and is recommended to obviously share the post and your experience at that specific time. I'm aware that not everyone could have access to the analytics of Instagram. I think it's from 5,000 and 10,000 followers that you can actually have access to that. But there are different tools, different apps, they can tell you this, for instance, and they can help you knowing your audience, knowing what they're interested to know about you. Maybe they may be interested about photography, or could be just fashion, could be travel, could be motivational, obviously, quotes and or even books.
Well, that's powerful stuff, and I know segueing from that, you recently created a book with most of this and so much more, obviously, to help influencers and people that want a social media presence to produce, you know, better material that's more authentic, to pitch to companies for collaborations, maybe sponsorships, things like that. I know that's in your book, but tell me if you can expound a little bit without giving too much away, obviously, a little more
Sure.
about what your motivation, your goal with this book is, and what it can offer people.
So this book has been like my lockdown project. I started it, in fact, when I was in my room, locked down in London. And I wanted to be able to produce and share something within the travel community, but at the same time, somebody that had an interest as a content creator to be able to collaborate with brands, but most essentially also to be able to know the different tools they can be used and how to maximize the exposure and the visibility once you share a post, for instance, for the question that you just asked me. And but above all, also to be a motivational piece. I dare detail when I first started, I didn't have the intention of to to have or the expectation to have great following from that. I just started because I was motivated by passion and different values, and I tried to kind of convey those values through photography, through my captions. So the ebook essentially is it gathers all my top tips in terms of like photography gears that you can use, different tools that you can use to edit your pictures, as well as building what is known as a media kit, so which is a portfolio of photography, also experience that you have done, and how you can actually help brands as well as different venues, for example, a hotel chain or restaurants, to maximize their exposure, which is it starts from a review of the place, of the meal that you had, to be able to share that a piece of information for example, in your blog, which is in my case, or for your social media platforms, basically.
And where can we go to find this ebook?
So it is published on Amazon and different Amazon marketplaces. However, the ebook is only written in English.
Okay, which should be pretty good. I mean, the good thing is you can always translate things. You know, Google Translate is extremely useful, and it's mostly consists of tips and stuff. So that should be quite easy for people to translate. And the names of apps don't really change with languages, so that's really good.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing, man.
And it's called it is called How to Instagram Like a Pro, and is presented by myself, Marco Faro.
How to Instagram like a pro. I mean, you're surely the pro, so I mean, the title is almost
it's inspirational.
Well, everyone listening, go check out that ebook. I have myself. It's powerful, the tools that you can use, and you know, the growth that you can have. I know personally my account, what was it, Marco? When I first started, I was 800, 900, and then after you gave me some tips and helped me out with some coaching, I went to what I'm at now, which is, you know, I'm inching towards 6,000. I was above 6,000 for a while, but you know, it's not anywhere near you or these big Instagram influencers, but it's still a huge accomplishment, you know, going from 800 to, and like struggling to get to 1K, and then jumping all the way to that level where, like you said, I can see analytics now. I can reach out for collaborations, because I have what you said, 5 to 10,000 is basically the bare minimum you can really have to have some collab to pull forward, right?
Yes, there are different sort of categories of digital creators, influencers, somebody also wish to call, that are highly considered by brands. Brands not only go after the counter following that you have, but at the same time, if they can relate to values or your recommendation, also micro influencers, they're invited to review hotels or to review different restaurants. So it all starts with the value. So if you are able to relate your values with the ones the company has, and vice versa, that's where it all starts.
No, that's awesome, man. That is useful information that, you know, it really helped me and has really progressed me, because my ultimate goal is to just reach people, to inspire and to help them be motivated to go after their dreams. I mean, it's not even necessarily to have a huge following just to have a huge following. You know, I think that comes with what you're saying. You have to have a love for what you're doing. And I know one time I was discouraged. Well, not one time, multiple times I was discouraged and came to you about it. And I was like, Marco, I can't get anything to work, blah, blah, blah. And basically you told me, maybe just enjoy it. Just, if you like posting, like the art of it, the act of doing it, just do it and get back to the roots of what your goal is and what you love about it, and do that, which, you know, I did. Just the posts, I mean, the captions that I put with my posts, the photography, the travel, and that is what I'm passionate about too. And obviously inspiring people. So, and I think in time that comes, you know, you have some growth and the right people will be following you. Now, what was your best collaboration you've done, and why? I know, looking back, when I was in London one time, we went to this Indian restaurant, and that you were working with, and I benefit from that collaboration personally, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I do collaborate both with restaurants, local restaurants from UK mostly, but also when I travel, I also collaborate with the restaurants in the local community, in the local area. And I also collaborate with travel tours agency and different venues, hotels around the world. The best collaborations, well, they're all great, to be honest, because you always discover different things. It adds you, it's an additional experience that you get, that you gain, people that you also meet and interact with, and you connect from there onwards. The best one is always the travel related ones. It was also, it was done just before the COVID-19 pandemic all started. So that was the mid February, towards towards end of February in Auxiluim, which is I'm sure I'm pronouncing correctly, which is a resort in Lapland and north of Finland. One of my biggest fear was to do in winter, to be in a place which was even colder than London, but also the experience itself, to be able to see the northern lights, to do a husky safari and reindeer safari at night, to chase the northern lights, and sleep in a glassy igloo. To be able to open your eyes and see the stars above you and the northern lights above you when you were lucky.
I think we all hate you right now, Marco. That's amazing. It's an amazing experience.
So that was definitely the best experience that I had, because of, not only for the place and the location, all perfect, like fairy tale location really, but also for the people that I was able to meet and connect with. So I was invited to do what is called like a press trip. So you get invited with other people. There are also bloggers, there are journalists, always talking about the travel industry. And that's actually the best thing ever. So when we're able to combine a great experience with great people, and people do make the difference along the journey. So that's why it's important to connect. For me, also speaking the same language. So that has to go down as the best experience, and not only for the places that I was able to experience, but also for the people that I was able to meet.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, networking and reaching out and getting out of your comfort zone to just meet people and just build relationships. That's where opportunity comes. I mean, if you're not doing that, if you're not incorporating those steps to meet new people into your life, you're really never going to find those opportunities, because opportunities come from people. We all know that. There's so many great books. Was it How to Win? What's that book you were reading? And I was reading it too.
Yes. How to win friends and influence people, by Dale Carnegie. That was the book. Yes.
That's such a good book, and it talks dead on about exactly that. And it's so important to success. It's just because everyone knows something you don't know, and that's the key. And people that walk around, know-it-alls, for example, they're just glasses that you can't add anything to if you're a person like that, you can't have anything added to. You're never going to learn anything because you think you know everything, and you really, obviously, everyone knows you don't. So it's just travel and meeting people like you do is the best way to open the doors for so many opportunities in life, for success, whatever it might be. So to go back to your tips, what would you say the top 3 tips for growing your following Instagram would be? We talked about like hashtagging. I don't know if that would be a top 3 or not. Following your personal flavor. So what would be the top 3 you'd say?
Yeah, so the first one, first of all, you have to be passionate. You have to be able to convey your values through your photography, or it could be just through, if you are a video maker, through the videos there and live videos that you share. Could be just on YouTube, or could be like live videos on Instagram. It's not just about the post itself. The second one, so you have to have a strategy as well. The strategy sort of is a compound of different elements, which is from choosing your niche. So if you're talking about, for example, my niche is on travel, and through photography, I'm able to express the different experiences that I have, the places that I've seen, but then also I use the caption section as a storytelling exercise. So that was my very first type of like blog that I had. The third one, you need to be able to create a community, to connect with people that are like-minded. Through that, you are able to also share the different tips, different recommendation, and by connecting with them and reconnecting with the right people, creating that sort of community within a social media platform is very important, because under an algorithm's perspective, it actually indirectly boosts your posts. By people liking, commenting pictures within the same niche, also you get recommendations by Instagram itself to follow or to like specific pictures, and to engage with that element. So that's the three elements that I would recommend. And there are different also platforms. It's not just connecting within the social media platform. There are actually forums where you can go to, and where actually was able to meet those people in person, owner or directors of hotels and restaurants that you can go to. There are travel markets, travel fairs. The one that I usually attend is the one WTM, the World Travel Market, which for this year will be a virtual event happening next week actually. And the ITB, which is the biggest one in Europe, probably also one of the biggest one in the world, based in Berlin. Again, a travel fair, and thus it goes all around connectivity, be able to interact and connect with the right people, with the like-minded as well.
Well, there you had it. There's three amazing tips on how we can gain a bigger following like you have, and to be successful with producing the kind of material we want. And that's great. And I also remember you told me something about like what you scroll, and like when you scroll away hours on Instagram, whatever, where you search things, Instagram remembers that on your phone or whatever, on your account. Yeah. And so like you said, it gives you recommendations according to what you're searching. So if you're searching for a bunch of bull crap, I mean, then you're going to get bull crap that's going to come up. But if you search for the things you want that go along with your dreams, like travel, I know I'm searching for travel stuff, nonstop, fitness stuff. And that's all I get, those two things. And it's given me so much more light into opportunities, and even just seeing great pictures, getting ideas from other people, innovation. So I think that's another thing to take into account. I've learned from you is be aware of what you're like nonchalantly scrolling and searching, because like any computer, it's keeping track, and it's going to give you information that you tell it you like. So it's best to keep those things in line.
Yes, and the hashtag is a search engine for people within the platform. You can not only just follow people, but you can follow hashtags as well. And by following hashtags, you actually directly connect with other people that have shared the same hashtags in the posts.
Yeah, that's powerful too, because I know that's something I need to do more of personally, is start following some hashtags. This makes even more of a like-minded audience that you family of people you have to collaborate with, to learn from, and to teach. So outside of all of that, though, what is your ultimate definition of success, man?
You have to love what you do, and not necessarily thinking, obviously having ambitions, but not necessarily thinking or having a higher expectation that by doing by posting, sharing your experience, you gonna get to 1 million followers or becoming a millionaire. This is, I think, is like an indirect process. But if you put into a combination of passion and strategy on what it is that you do, that you love and want to be known at the same time by helping others, that and be resilient to it, that you will achieve something that you would have not achieved if you didn't start from anywhere.
I think that's key too, is you didn't start. I think that the first step, I mean, your chances of succeeding are none if you don't open the door and or at least give it a try and start. You know, you have to put the first
Definitely.
foot forward to be brave enough to start working towards your dream if you're ever going to have a chance to make it reality. And I think it's also like,
And sometimes,
go ahead.
no, I was saying that sometimes actually you will feel intimidated. You might feel intimidated by seeing that, for example, a brand has collaborated with big influencers, big digital creators, or fashion bloggers. But the mindset that I actually use and adopt is, what do I have to lose? If I don't ask, if I don't try to connect with the brand, I will. It is already a no that I have. So by trying to connect and create a genuine interaction with them, offering help to promote their brands, could be just by doing a review, or maybe showcasing the product through stories or posts on my website, that you actually create an opportunity there.
That takes some courage for a lot of people I know. That's something I often struggle with, because you get intimidated by the size of the mountain, that you don't realize that, you know, other people have climbed it. So you just need to open your mouth and ask and see what they did and learn from that, and just take that first step towards the top. And that's powerful, man. Moving on from that, I just published my book back in April. I know you got it. So I'm extremely grateful for. So I'm a big quote lover, writer, you know, author. I love words, inspiration. So for you, what is the most inspiring quote or book or something you've heard that you've ever heard or read, and what has it really meant to you in your life?
So going back to the topic that we were just actually mentioning about being intimidated, or where do I start? How do I start? I only have less than 500 followers when I started on Instagram, and I was kind of, as I mentioned, not being so motivated. Besides being encouraged by a couple of friends on sharing those experiences, those posts on a different platform than Facebook. It is actually a quote from American author Zig Ziglar. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And it's sort of an ambition quote. He's a motivational speaker at the same time, that really helped me have the right mindset. I didn't want to start. I didn't want to kind of replicate what I was doing already in a different platform, but obviously just connected with a circle of friends, which is the way Facebook has been built for. But actually, by able to sharing those experiences and using like those hashtags, I was able to be seen. But most importantly, I was able to help others, and that is a really satisfying feeling on a personal level, because having to plan a trip sometimes is really time consuming and is demanding. You can go to different forums. Obviously, historically, people will just go to a travel agency asking for like recommendation, or having to pay somebody to plan their trip. But the way people have evolved, the world has evolved, is more just be able to relate, be able to go get those recommendations from somebody that you know, or you have developed sort of an interest because of the life that they conduct, or because you can kind of connect because of their personalities, their character, and trust this recommendation and follow this recommendation. And when they actually do follow this recommendation and they're really helpful for having had a great experience from that, it's really personally satisfying.
No, I can 100% agree with that. So, I mean, that's an amazing quote too, and it goes like in line with our conversation, which is kind of perfect too. So, I mean, going off of that, I mean, it's obviously you're well read, and you have a similar interest in those kind of self-motivating quotes, I'll put it that way, or inspiring quotes in that way. So what do you do as far as mental fitness goes? I know fitness is extremely important, physical and mentally, but on the daily, is there a routine you kind of follow to kind of help you even this difficult time with COVID? You're not able to travel anymore, but what do you typically do to keep your mental toughness up?
So especially when I'm feeling low, I try to super energetic. I try to listen to super energetic music. Doesn't have to be like lyrics specifically, so I can just I need to listen or engage more closely. It can just be like listening to a piano melody, for instance. But so beside that, to distract my mind, I also meditate, which I find it really very useful to kind of disconnect, for example, from very long hours working in front of a PC screen, when you're feeling low. There, as you mentioned, especially during lockdowns, you are constrained to four walls.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't go out. You need to be able to travel with your mind. So I can watch documentaries, for instance, or just TV series as well. The ones that are, especially like movies that are more travel related. I don't know if you watch Into the Wild. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
So
Or Motorcycle Diaries. That's another one. It helps me, this exercise, to be able to plan in the future, to have hope. And once we will be able to travel a great more freely, then I want to visit those places that I've been planning and looking at for a while.
That's probably good. I know personally, because we talked, you haven't stopped working on building those collaborations, and I know you got a trip now to Greece, luxury trip actually that you work towards, and so many others. Like I know it's killing me not being able to travel. I love to travel just as much, but it's shows your success even during this hard time. You're still planting seeds and watering them, and you know that when the time does come, like you said, hope. Hope is so important that you'll be able to make do on those and go the places you want to go and work with those collaborations. So for anyone that's losing hope, I hope that they can hear this and hear from your experience that you can still do stuff now, even though we can't physically travel. Companies, the hotels, all these restaurants, they're not going away. I hope, like, God willing.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. But most of them are still going to be staying afloat, and it's just a matter of when we can cross borders, building those relationships, and then the door will be open to us to be able to do it. And I know personally I'm working towards that. I know you continually do it, and I hope everyone else does as well. So what is next for you? You think you're living your dream ultimately, or is there more that you want to take away from this?
So living the dream will be to constantly travel and connect with people. As I mentioned, this is something that obviously is not possible to be doing down. We have to follow obviously scientists' recommendations as well. But at the same time, as you mentioned, we can plan, we can hope, or we can have time to connect, even connect with family. So yes. The ultimate dream that I pursued was to be able to resume to a new normality. Perhaps we won't go back to the times that we had, but we can surely be able to live in a world where we are even more connected than we were before.
I can only pray that's the result of this as well. I mean, you can see different examples of that happening already. So it's a beautiful thing. Now, has there ever been a point? I know a lot of people are really discouraged. It doesn't have to be social media. This is our topic for this interview, but has there been a point where you were like, I'm really discouraged. Like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I'm so down. I want to give up. And if there was ever a point, what helped you get out of it in those moments?
So I think this point in life was actually the point that I had before I actually made the step to go and live abroad. as I mentioned, I'm originally from Italy, from Sicily. I did high school here. Then conventionally, I registered to join university here because that was the thing to do. Like once you finish your high school, then you go traditionally to a university. You choose the topic of your interest, and then you carry on. And if you wanna work in a bank, for instance, then you have to do economics. So if you wanna be able to have a stable job in an office, you have to do economics. So if you wanna become a lawyer, you go to study law, for instance. And then I did that. I did go and register to go to the University of Catania in Sicily, doing economics, because my mom worked in a bank. So I was kind of prompt to follow the same path. But it was never something that I wanted. And yes, I did study. I did the exams, and it was going okay. First year with just normal challenges of having to switch from high school study methodology to university one. But it wasn't something that I wanted to do, to pursue. I wanted to do something that I loved doing it, and then take things as they come, and try to connect with the right people, and do internships that would help me land a job in the future. So that's when I decided, actually, I was doing frequent trips to the UK because of family friends that I had there. And one specific phrase that it was just thrown out there from a family friend to my mom was, "Oh, I can really see Marco study here in the UK." That actually statement that was made just randomly around the table, just a couple of friends and family friends. I was able to see that somebody believed in me. Somebody believed in something that I didn't even see, or I didn't want to see, because I was just following traditionally the conventional life that Sicilian people, Italian people had. So when I went back to Italy after that trip, I was like, well, that's it. I'm just quitting the Italian university and to pursue my dream to actually do languages abroad and work abroad. So that's when I just booked my one-way ticket and moved to London, find a job in a coffee shop, registered to apply to study in a UK university, did the exams, which were compulsory to take in order to prove that you were able to study in a foreign language that wasn't yours.
Right.
And also had to have the grades to prove that you were you could have made it to the short list that they had. And that's how it started in 2009 when I moved to the UK, and I followed my passion, followed my dreams, and believed in me, and connected with the right people that can actually give you the right mindset. Surrounding yourself by positive people, it is the most important thing that actually I could have done, and I will continue to do.
That's such.
Thanks why we connected as well.
Exactly, and I agree with that. I'm extremely grateful for that, and you're such a powerful inspiration, man. And you said about being around positive people, and it's often said a lot of the success warriors in this world, they say that we're a product of the 5 people we hang out with most. It doesn't mean physically hang out with. It also includes books you read, TV shows you watch, things you enter through the gates of your being, which is your eyes, your ears, etc. So it's really important to surround yourself, like you said, with positive people, positive material, and things that kind of promote the life you want and your dreams. And the other thing you said about someone believed in you and you believe in you, that's a motif and that's something Auxilium I want everyone to take away from this. That's what I'm trying to help anyone that listens to this, or reads the material, my post. I want them to get that vibe that you can do it, that you have to be a fan of you and you have to believe in yourself, but everyone needs to hear those words from someone else. I believe in you. Yes. It's human nature. And it's so sad that some people don't get that, but a lot of times people don't get it because they're not walking in those arenas of people, the right people, are not putting their minds to the right books, the right TV shows. And a great quote I shared today was, that if you want to see the light in your life, you have to stand where it's shining. And I think a lot of people, they hang out in the shadows, and that's why they never accomplish their dreams. That's why they never hang around the right person who will tell you, I believe in you, who knows how to support them and to encourage them and to just be a positive influence, you know? So it's so powerful to have that. Now, going on gratitude as well is another huge thing. I did a course at Yale. It's a free course study on happiness. And the professor gave us an assignment. And basically, this assignment is going over your strengths. What is your core strengths? And one of mine was, gratitude and love. And through the assignment, it talks about, finding something to do at least once a day for a week on one of those core strengths. And then the next week you do the next. So this week I've really focused on gratitude. I've already made a habit of writing down things I'm grateful for every morning, meditating on it. And it's just such a refreshing thing. That's why I buy I know you do the same thing and you buy little things from where you travel. For me, it's just, I see them on my fridge, my wall, whatever the case is, around my house. And it reminds me to be grateful of the trips that I already had, even though I can't travel now and I get really pissed off about not being able to travel. But it's something that is powerful to be grateful for what you have and where you stand now, the fact that you're living. There's so much to be grateful for. And I hear that in the way you talk too. You obviously have that gravity of gratitude. And I think that probably accounts for a lot of your success in your mindset, keeping it elevated, right?
Yes, totally. The gratitude is really a key element that have driven me to and motivated me to go through even the darkest time. Be grateful for something positive happened during the day and not focusing on the negative aspects of it. I should indeed also do routine to you to keep a journal of this positive action that happened and not always take them for granted and not specifically focus on the negative. But at the same time, another thing that I do is I always seek for feedback, constructive feedback. I find in them a great way to constantly improve yourself, and open, transparent, constructive feedback. Always something that I seek at the professional level, by the same time, even with the same community, travel community, and with friends.
No, that's extremely important, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. I thought I had a little freeze on my screen there for a moment. So social media is a place we put everything on display, kind of stepping away from the positive side of things. A lot of times people get discouraged. They're putting everything they have out there, say they're following their dreams, they're being passionate, they're exposing the deepest secrets, not the deepest secrets, the wrong word. They're exposing their deepest dreams out there to accomplish their dreams. Sometimes it's necessary to be vulnerable to take that next step. So how do you recommend people handle that rejection? So a lot of people get discouraged if they write something with these companies for a collaboration, or they make a post and they only get like 2 likes. So it's not working. They're really getting down and depressed. What did you do in the beginning to handle that? And what would you recommend that people that are experiencing that do?
Yes, so indeed, I had rejections from especially when I first started. But currently, even now, it could be just from different reasons, and those reasons might sometimes are not shared by the venue or the entity that you're approaching, the brand that you're approaching. Some will be just related to budget, though they might have like run out of the budget to sponsor or invite you to experience their venues or to try their products. So I seek for feedback. It's just due to the fact that, for example, my content doesn't really always relate to them, or it is because they are looking for big digital creators, big in terms of like following, but also the frequency of posts at the same time. And then I go back and revisit. For example, revisit my niche, revisit my strategy. So I also sought feedback directly to the audience that I had by doing polls, by using the Instagram features of the stories where you can ask questions or where you can do like a survey of what they would be interested to know most by looking at the stories, by looking at the post. Before, the account that I had was a mixture of posting food as well, not just travel, as well as a mix of posts from my personal life, and I could see that the engagement, specifically in those posts about the different dishes or the different events that I had in my life with friends, weren't really working out. I could still talk about my personal experience, and I talk about the top best recommendation for food and where to eat in my captions, in my stories, but not necessarily shared in what is known as a feed, Instagram feed. And by doing those kind of amendments in my feed, I was able to connect and see the results when the next connected with different brands or different entities.
I like it. So it's more when you get the criticism, you have to take it as constructive criticism almost. Even if it's so negative, you have to kind of take it that way. And I remember reading a book, it's called The Four Agreements. It's about striving towards personal freedom by Don Miguel Ruiz. And it's a book I really like, because one of the main things he tells you to do, the pillars of accomplishing this, is to not take anything personal. And I have that on my mirror, actually. So when I wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, do my daily routine, that's like one of the first things I see. And it tells me, that consistency, repetition creates the master, and don't take anything personal. Those two things are just, they go two and two. So you have to consistently not take things personally. And I think by not taking it personally, you can accomplish what you said. You can learn so much about how to better yourself and maybe improve what you're doing, or you realize that this person wasn't really in your audience anyway. So they're not really going to buy your product, or they're not really going to be a source of collaboration. So that's some powerful stuff. I know we're getting towards the end here, and I don't want to take too much of your time. So a fun question I want to ask you. You said you like music. I know you like music. So if you could choose any song that could best represent your life, your person, and your career even, what would you choose? What song?
So I like to dream big and imagine big. So one of the motivational, but at the same time, a song that makes me kind of ground me when, for example, I'm feeling low, or especially watching news and hearing about bad things that happen, is Imagine by John Lennon. And actually, during one of my travels in America, in New York specifically, there is a dedicated within Central Park. There is a dedicated area about him, and this image, this word Imagine, constructed on the floor. So that is definitely a motivational song for me, but also it means a lot to me to calm my character when I'm feeling low, for instance.
That is such a good song too. I love John Legend, and the best thing about that is the background behind him, and that's powerful. That like you said, you turn it on when you're feeling a certain way, and it helps you. That's using the right tools to keep you elevated, especially in these times. So people should learn from that even, and find those things that can recenter them towards that positivity. So the last three questions I have for you, man, I asked everyone I interview, really narrowed down to two. And the first question is, let's pretend someone told you by some sort of magic that you could change one thing about the world. It could be literally anything. And what would that one thing be for you?
I think the thing that also personally frustrates me, so much, especially now with COVID, which we can all relate, unfortunately, is misinformation. This is something that personally frustrates me. I hope and I wish people are better and well sort of informed about what's going on. And that's obviously also goes back to the reason why I add the extra sort of lines in my captions to talk about not just tips, but also the culture and places and things to do in specific places. So if I was able to change the way misinformation it actually takes place and takes our life and thoughts away in different ways. It could just be in our everyday life, but especially now through social media, it is something that will certainly change. It will certainly start from there. I can see now, I don't know if you noticed as well, talking about the social media world, that companies such as Facebook are doing a great job at, especially during this time with the elections, with the US elections, to always put like a sort of a hyperlink or referral link. Could be in your homepage, or could be just from a post that you see, or an advertisement that you see on that talks about COVID, for instance, that goes to the official WHO page. And that's, I think, there's a great initiative that even more companies and local governments should do to kind of tackle and fight against misinformation, which can lead people, especially the most vulnerable one, to believe things that can be harmful for them. Like, for example, if you're talking about COVID, or products that should be taken to make themselves immune or protect them from it. So that would be definitely the one.
That is definitely a powerful one, man. It applies so much to right now, because there's a lot of misinformation going around with COVID, that's for sure.
Yes.
So the second and last question I have is, if you knew everyone in the entire world, every ear was turned to you, was listening in this moment, what would be the one thing you made sure to tell them?
Believe in yourself, and that's for sure. It's all my old journey started, and also the way maybe it didn't start earlier. Maybe if I believed in myself after finishing school, I would have lived abroad a little bit longer, and learned and met other people that I didn't meet, perhaps. But then definitely, if I didn't believe in myself and didn't surround myself by positive people with a positive attitude that were able to see the best in me, I probably wouldn't even be living in the UK. I've lived and traveled in different places. I sometimes wonder that how life would have been if I stayed in Italy without pursuing my dreams.
It's a scary thought, huh?
Yes, you don't follow conventional. That's definitely the other thing, that maybe people living in traditional context, which can be the one in Sicily, which, as you know, there are no multicultural cities as you might find in UK, like London, or even in Italy mainland, like Rome or Milan. You tend to follow that sort of mistake, to just follow what everyone does and everyone is being told to do. But when you actually combine the feeling of believing and following your passions, your values, that's where you actually can go out of your comfort zone and pursue something that you would have otherwise not pursued.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. You can't follow just because society says to do this or not do that. Yeah. You have to do what your heart says and what you want to do. So I appreciate you taking the time to share these tips, your story. It really inspires me, and I hope it inspires everyone else, man. And I definitely want everyone to check out your ebook, to check out your blog, where the locals go to get the best travel tips and recommendations that I use when I go places, and to even reach out on social media to connect if they have any more questions, just to follow your amazing material, because they can learn a lot from your stories and how you really make it into a masterpiece by sharing your own personal flavor. in everything you post, your captions, your pictures, and your stories. So I appreciate the time, man.
Thanks for connecting and having me.